News Extra today is brought to you by Gering Civic Center, and with our program, here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. We're very pleased today to have 3rd District Congressman Adrian Smith here with us for a few minutes as he is in town for Memorial Day activities. You're going to be a pretty busy guy today, aren't you?
Yes, but that's all right, especially close to home.
Yeah, especially close to home. You're going to be at the Fallen Heroes Memorial at 10 o'clock over at the college, right?
Right.
And then
to Alliance to Cemetery.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you're going to be several places, and then when do you head back to Washington? Then in the morning, do you?
Well, I'll be around Nebraska all week.
Oh, all week. Okay.
So,
all right.
It'll be a lot of miles, but it'll be great to just see folks where they are all around the district.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe give your comments about the significance of Memorial Day.
You know, it's such a great reflection of our priorities as a country. I think that the symbolism of Memorial Day, I remember my grandfather, a World War II Navy Seabee, when he was still alive, he would take me to Memorial Day ceremonies out at the Gering Cemetery. And I reflect back on that, not only for the ceremony that he took me to, but my grandfather in general, in terms of what he did for our country as a veteran, but what he has done for me personally, and just I'm glad to take today as a bit of a personal reflection as well, but also to get out and meet folks at various ceremonies, and it's great to see the priority that our community places on the service from our veterans.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of Memorial Day programs all around the community, and even the smaller communities around Scottsbluff and Gering do. And then, of course, the Fallen Heroes thing today is a big thing up at the college as well. All right, I thought I'd ask you about Governor Heineman's decision Saturday. Were you surprised at all by that?
I can't say I was surprised. One part that does surprise me is that he doesn't seem to want to serve in the legislative branch of government, which that's certainly his prerogative. So I was hoping that he would run. I think he would do a great job as what I call part of Team Nebraska in Washington, the 5 of us. We've got the size of a delegation where it means a lot that we work well together. And I think he's a good team member. And I think regardless of party, though, we have worked well together in Washington over the 6.5 years that I've been there.
He mentioned that one of the things that he decided he didn't want to be in Washington, where he says it takes 10 years to do something that people know you can do overnight, if it makes sense. I mean, the gridlock basically is one of the reasons why he said he's not too excited about going to D.C.
Well, that is, I'm sure, part of his consideration. I'm always quick to tell people, though, that there's only one thing worse than something that moves too slowly in Washington, and that would be something that moves too quickly. Of course, I would say that in Lincoln, too. Obviously, a different environment in Washington. But I'm grateful that Governor Heineman has served our state well as governor. He obviously loves being governor, and he wants to finish that up with 100% dedication to that effort.
Yeah. Sometimes I've had, when I've talked to Senator Johans, he says, well, I tell my people that the biggest thing they need to do is just block and tackle every day. Is that what it is all about, is blocking and tackling?
Well, I would say that I spend more of my time fighting the bad stuff than advocating for good stuff, you know. But that's part of the job. That's not a complaint. I think, you know, looking at what our founders had in mind in terms of the process in Washington, they too didn't want something to move through quickly. That's why they set up the Senate separate from the House with a totally different set of rules. And so Nebraska, you know, our delegation is unique because we do meet so often, you know, at least once a week that we're in session. A couple weeks ago, I think the 5 of us, we were together 3 times in 2 days. I mean, some of my House colleagues would not see their senator colleagues, gosh, for probably a couple months at a time. It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about some issues. First of all, the Farm Bill is going to have a House committee now. I know the Senate is debating it on the floor now.
Right.
So the chances of getting a Farm Bill, what's your thoughts? I think everybody knows we want a long-term Farm Bill. Are we actually going to get that done here this time around?
That's certainly what I'm working for, hoping for, and when we look, I think we're better off now than we were a year ago, right out of committee. I think we need to allow the process to work. Last year there was a special deal kind of cut in committee that kind of hold the votes together in committee, but there weren't enough votes in the full House. So we need to get the bill now to the full House, utilize the process so that we can get the bill over to conference committee and the Senate likewise. That's where the compromises are hammered out. So then the conference report would come together, go back to the respective House and Senate to have an up or down vote. That's utilizing the process. That doesn't happen enough in Washington, and I think we will have a better work product and allow the system to work so that we can get the long-term farm bill by utilizing this process.
And maybe by fall we could have a farm bill.
That's what we need to do. That's my hope.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you about all the stuff that's going on in D.C. with the IRS and the AP writers and all that stuff. Obviously, a sense of maybe mistrust a little bit in Washington right now, given what's going on.
Well, it's no surprise that there's skepticism among the public when it comes to the government, especially the IRS. And both sides of the aisle are extremely concerned about what has been happening at the IRS. I think that that political bias and that overreach even concerns some of my left of center colleagues who could envision, the opposite happening perhaps if there's just a different kind of political bias. So that's why we are looking at this. And when you look at what's happening at the IRS, coming up, I mean, the full implementation and enforcement of the President's health care bill, that's all at the IRS. So, I mean, already this year, I know my tax return, I had to answer some questions about health care and so forth, and that will be even more significant in years to come. And I would say clearly the IRS is not ready to be implementing and enforcing the President's health care bill.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a quick break. We'll have another couple of minutes with the Congressman right after this.
Gearing's vibrant history and the premier facility of the Gearing Civic Center makes this
Mike,
the
quickly
place
ask
for
you
your
about this
reunions
student
and
loan
small
interest
dinners.
rate bill
With
that you had
professional staff to
picked
assist
through,
in event
and
planning,
maybe,
the Meat Shop's
I
29
don't know, we'll
years
see
of
what
catering
else we can
experience,
fit in
your
here,
events
too.
will be spectacular. Call West Nebraska's premier multifunction facility at 436-6888 or visit us at www.gearingciviccenter.com. The Gearing Civic Center, we do the work and you get the praise.
Back here on News Extra, we're talking with Congressman Adrian Smith on this Memorial Day, and we're very pleased to have him here. And you just co-sponsored or introduced a bill on student loan interest rates that would assist in that area.
Well, we passed that bill.
In
the House last week, and if we did nothing, the interest rates would really skyrocket on student loans. And so this was basically a compromise. Actually, it's something that the president had suggested, and now he's saying he wants to veto it. We'll look into that further. But this strikes a balance between some expectation for students to be able to afford the interest rates and also tying interest rates to the market. To not tie the interest rates to the market, someone's going to have to pay. And that's what we want to avoid, because market-based interest rates are a better reflection of the affordability and the reality of the situation.
Okay. Are you concerned at all about all the violence in Iraq here recently?
I am, and when you see these flare-ups in other countries too, I think.
And apparently it's about the elections too. A large part of it. They have a lot of local elections going on.
And I think they're trying to struggle through that, and we want to have the appropriate role. I don't think we want to overreact. And we also, though, need to be prepared and flexible from time to time. I look at what's been happening, with these hearings about Benghazi in Libya, and we want to make sure, and this is all in the kind of the veil of sequestration too, of making sure we have the resources in the appropriate place and the flexibility to respond. And I'm not saying military response to everything. I'm just saying what can we do to afford our men and women in uniform the flexibility to support them in their efforts so that they can address some of these points of violence if that's necessary.
All right. Okay, we're out of time. We got to get it here at the top of the hour. Appreciate it. And good luck on your travels over the next week.
It's great to be back. Thank you.
You bet.